First of all, this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Bronny doesn't deny the inbounds pass. His guy is the one that catches the ball in the corner. Now watch this. And then, just like his father, padding his stats. Oh, and this one right here, look, perfect example of what we're talking about. Doesn't belong in the league. Attacks the pick and roll, can't even get 2 feet in the key. And then look over here in the corner, if he does attack 2 feet in the key, he can kick it out to that player, gives up an open three, but instead, look what happens. Dribble, step back, highly contested three, off the glass, terrible. Again, more of the same. Bronny standing in the corner. You're not a three-point shooter. Just cut here. Cut to the basket. There's no one guarding you. Oh my gosh, just cut to the basket. It's simple geometry. Sits in the corner, kicks it out, shoots another three. Brick, obviously. This play here. Oh my gosh, this has to be one of Bronny's worst plays ever in his career. Watch this. Got one of the greatest three-point shooters of all time running off of a screen, getting wide open for a game winner. You're gonna switch. You're gonna switch on the outside. Switching on the outside. What are you defending your basket? Oh my gosh, what are you doing? Gives up a wide open three. Bronny, what are you doing? Bronny, you'll never have a career in the NBA. This play is the perfect example why this kid is never gonna make it. Here we go, rebound, 19 seconds left. Outlet the ball, you idiot. Now he starts to dribbles into a trap, all the way to the corner, calls a timeout, don't even have timeouts. It's simple. A child knows how many timeouts you have. How can you be this stupid, Bronny? Idiot. So, earlier this week I did a video breaking down Bronny's Summer League game against the Heat. This was in response to seeing a video from Awful Coaching, who was pointing out every mistake that Bronny made and hyper-focusing on his play. I then made a follow-up video addressing some of the comments I received from many of you about me being too soft on Bronny James, or that I accused Awful Coaching of playing a character. To be honest, the entire Bronny situation is exhausting, and the amount of attention it's receiving is just laughable to me. So, I'll be addressing this for the last time, but also to better detail the exact issues I have with the whole thing. Firstly, let's be very clear about what I said about Awful Coaching. Granted, it was pretty funny, and I'm sure that he's putting on an act, or this is a character of some sort, judging by the rest of his channel. I said I hadn't seen many of his videos, and that's because I didn't want to assume anything, so I gave the benefit of the doubt. Since that time, I have watched more of his videos and even read through his Twitter to get a better feel, and yes, I think my description was fairly accurate. And no, I don't mean that as an insult. Awful Coaching clearly understands the game of basketball at some level, but his channel is called Awful Coaching. He is obviously going to take the least charitable interpretation of anything that happens in a particular game, because that's the way he's branded himself. I mean, just looking at some of these titles, Bronny James is terrible at basketball. Bronny James has been absolutely useless in Summer League. Phoenix Mercury's absolutely atrocious defense against Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark offensively is being ruined by this Indiana Fever coaching staff. And even his tweets are kind of inflammatory too. It's brilliant. Awful Coaching is not the problem. I think he's very entertaining, and obviously many others do too. But it's the armchair coaches and Monday morning quarterbacking that really chafes my behind. While his videos are entertaining, I wouldn't consider them coaching or thought-provoking. They're providing surface-level descriptions of what's happening without genuine solutions or inciting a deeper level of understanding. For some reason, we pride ourselves on knowing a lot about a subject because we can notice something incredibly obvious. It's what humans do. We've been doing it for millions of years. Pattern recognition is literally one of our best attributes. What we are not good at is self-awareness and how to critically think about a subject to find solutions. Take talent identification, for example. We all think we have a special gift to find that diamond in the rough and to identify who will be the next big thing, but data shows we suck. Even the experts at the highest level have less than a 30% efficiency rate when it comes to identifying top-level athletes in youth. But leave it to everyone sitting at home on their couches eating their 4th box of Krispy Kreme donuts to tell us who deserves to be in the pros. It's incredibly easy to look at this year's draft and say, wow, this was a really down year for the draft, huh? Duh, that's because there wasn't a 7'4", Frenchman point god projected to go number one. But the majority of the rest of the draft in 2023, they were all just selected to fill spots or specific needs on teams. And we can only speculate on some of those because we weren't in those conversations. Hell, even the best NFL player of all time was drafted 199th back in 2000. Once you understand that we as humans are a poor predictor of future success, you would think we would have a bit more humility when it comes to judging the young players. Also, this fascination that everyone has about drop coverage all of a sudden, it's like people just discovered that pick and roll defenses exist for the first time this year. So if someone mentions drop coverage, everyone just assumes they're a guru at the game. In basketball, just like any other team sport, you have to have a game plan to counteract what the other team is doing. Sometimes they work, but oftentimes they don't, especially at the elite level. You kind of just have to pick your poison. So to be as results driven as we are, and people not being able to see the process from the beginning to the end, it just drives me insane. Yes, running a drop coverage against Luka Doncic this year as the Minnesota Timberwolves, it probably cost them the series, right? Well, until they switched with Rudy Gobert and Luka Doncic hit the step back game-winning three right over him. Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. And most people have not been punched in the face. That's Mike Tyson. Skip Bayless built an entire career off of this, by the way. Sports media before used to be extremely dry and not really worth the watch. Then you have people like Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith coming in and bringing a little life to the space. While it was entertaining for a while, the formula became extremely tiring. Unfortunately, it also made everyone that has an opinion think that it's valid or that they're making good argument. I don't know about you, but once you show me that you're biased or that you can get something very wrong and you're unwilling to correct yourself, I begin to be far more critical or just avoid it altogether. It's odd to me that more people don't operate this way. Now, Bronny's up here. Bronny's player passes it off the curl. This is their responsibility. It's a two-man game. This is their responsibility. I think it's pretty absurd to expect Bronny to get over here and challenge that three. If Bronny stunts and that ball goes back to his player, well, now he's got to close out and his player is going to drive past. This is one of those situations where it's like, whatever you do or whatever you think you can do on defense, the offense can always have an answer for it. Now, if we're going to put this all on Bronny, I think it's such a lazy way to look at this entire situation. I think you lose sight of the bigger picture. In this case, and this is why I said the whole defensive scheme is just bad in general in this G League. Like, it's hard to break down and blame one player when everyone's doing the wrong thing. Both of these situations I didn't feel were Bronny's fault. He was still made the entire focus of the video, which is the biased lens I was talking about. The reason I have such a big issue with this is that I've been that kid that coaches would put the blame on when their game plan fell apart. I've been that kid that would run through a brick wall when the coach wouldn't do the same, given the opportunity. I've been that kid that wanted the solutions and wanted to do better, but the coach didn't have the answers and wasn't willing to go look for them. That's the entire reason I made this channel. I want to push the game of basketball forward through entertainment and detail. I want to make people laugh, but also want to educate and to think about the game in a more detailed, critical lens. While I think Awful Coaching's videos are fine, I do think they rile up a ton of people without giving them a place to direct that energy. I'm definitely not a hater of his content though. I have watched a few more of his videos and look, I'm even a subscriber. I'd love to have a conversation with him at some point if he feels I've been unfair. So that's always on the table. Other than that, my hope is that we just get to a point where we don't get overly emotional or hyper fixated on one small aspect or one player, that we lose sight of the beautiful game of basketball that we all love. Also, that we can push the game forward and leave it better than we found it. Think of the children.